Hey everybody, welcome to Cali Girl Blog Talk. I'm Callie. Thank you for joining me. And today I'll be reviewing The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 7, Beef is Served. All right, you guys, so we start off right where we left off, and that is with Mia FaceTiming Peter, and she's letting him know she wants to bring all the ladies to the club. They're in Miami, and she names off all the ladies that are there. She said Wendy's name, and he was like, oh, let Wendy know I got beef with her. It's up. So she was like, well, what happened? She didn't like your food. And he was like, nah, I'll see her when I see you all tonight. And she is like, okay. So she goes into a little bit of how she knows Peter. She's been knowing him for 10 years, her and Gordon, close family friends, etc. Next, we see Robyn and Gizelle. Robyn is looking for extra towels. And meanwhile, Ashley stops by and she's like, her DMs are filling up because with everyone knowing that, she's going through a divorce, separation, whatever, all of her exes are hitting her up. She said the house that she did make an offer on, they accepted, but the tenants will not move out until July. She wants to be moved in by June, so she's going to withdraw her offer. She said, I don't know what's going on, but Michael is becoming more and more difficult, and she doesn't understand why. And they're like, girl, it's called divorce. That's what's going on. Meanwhile, Mia and her friend Jacqueline are having sisterly tit for tats. You asking me for this? Well, I need to borrow that. Well, you should have your own, blah, blah, blah. Candace hasn't arrived. She's due to be there at some point. I don't know, that evening or the next day. Charisse was looking for a room. Mia convinced her you're going to have a hard time finding a nice hotel, this short notice, whatever. Just stay here. You have a room to yourself. There's 5 showers here. Okay, I know you want your own bathroom. I guess Charisse says, okay, so she concedes and decides to stay. So Wendy and Karen sit down for a talk. They're talking about celebrating Karen's birthday. And Karen is like, you know what? Yeah, it's my birthday. And I'm just gonna, celebrate with my friends. She said, but me and Charisse, we haven't been friends for 5 years. In her confessional, she says Charisse has had some questionable behavior, when it comes to being a friend. So they flash back to 5 years ago during the reunion where Charisse insinuated that Karen had something going on with this whole Blue Eyes situation. And she was, cheating on Ray. She said, that was 5 years ago. We haven't been friends since. She said, so for her to approach me at my spring party to say, hey, can we get together? She's like, I have no idea what she wants to get together about. Like for what? Because it's not that serious. Like it's been 5 years, right? She said maybe Charisse and other people want it to be that serious in an effort to deflect from their own misery. Meanwhile, some of the ladies are getting ready, for the night, going to have dinner, going to bar 1 and everything. So Gizelle and Ashley are out on the patio. Mia comes out. She's telling them where they're going. She's like, we're going to bar 1. Ashley is like, does Wendy know? Mia was like, does she need to know? And Ashley said, well, basically like they got some type of business going on. Mia said, well, I heard that they got beef or Peter has beef with her. Gizelle said, well, Wendy told her that she did research on Peter to see if they had something in common so that she can approach him about going into business. Ashley's like, really? And I'm like, well, what is that? Some type of espionage, Ashley? I mean, who doesn't research a person that they want to go into business with? In her confessional, Gizelle said she was doing a fundraiser at Peter's restaurant, and he mentioned that, that girl that, that's like a part of your cast, she wants to do business, and talking to me about opening a Nigerian restaurant. She said he believed that was ludicrous. And I'm like, why would it be ludicrous? But anyway, that's what Gizelle is saying. So he said, but even though he thinks it's ludicrous, he's still going to play along and hear what she has to say. I said, well, he thought it was ludicrous, but he made her an offer to go into business, so he must have changed his mind. Gizelle said, and Wendy, you don't got no money. Now, how was you all up in her bag, Gizelle? Ashley is like, oh yeah, because it did sound a little fishy. So they're all kikiing and laughing about Wendy's business ventures, wanting to start a Nigerian restaurant, selling candles, etc. As if either one of the businesses couldn't be lucrative. Gizelle, you got the Reasonably Doubt podcast. Ashley, you TikToking. But you guys are gathered up talking about Wendy as though publicly you all have a lot going on outside of the show. Again, not saying that you don't, but I said publicly, meaning from what we know and what we can see. Again, Ashley, you're TikToking. And that's fine, do what you do, but don't knock Wendy for trying to explore as well. Anyway, they go back in the house, the 3 of them, ready for the night, ready to get some more tea on what's going on between Wendy and Peter. You can almost hear the excitement in their voice because they know something that's coming and Wendy is unaware So everybody's ready to go. They have a shot and they're headed out. So they're in the car. Mia, Wendy, Jacqueline, and Karen is in one car. And Mia brings up Charisse and says she's glad that Charisse decided to stay. They think she's just a sweetheart. She looks at Karen and says, I know she's not your favorite person. Karen said, don't speak for me, Mia. You know, I'm open to hear what she has to say. Especially, don't leave it up to Mia to translate nothing, because it's always going to come back incorrect. Mia said, here's my take on it. And her friend Jacqueline said, I like Charisse. And Mia was like, I'm not talking to you. And Karen is like, yes, you are. Like, girl, everybody's in the car. Everybody can talk. And I'm like, Mia, for a person that you've known for 15 years, I believe it was, and her mother took you in, raised you, she was your foster mother, you speak to your friend with sort of like a level of disregard, like she's beneath you, where you hold the other women in such a high esteem, meaning Robyn and Gizelle. I don't know what's up with that, but I'm sure we're going to find out. She goes on to imitate Charisse and says she was a little bit theatrical about the accommodations that she needed to have. And she's imitating her like, oh my gosh, I didn't have my own bathroom. Oh my gosh. Seeing how Charisse is acting in regards to wanting her own bathroom because she doesn't share bathrooms with other women. She says she's starting to see more of Karen's side of things, as far as sitting down and having lunch might be more drama, basically coming from Charisse, and it just may not really be worth it for Karen. And then she said, I mean, she had a bed, so she's doing better than Candace. What is this whole gang up situation on Wendy and Candace? What is the problem? We're gonna find out, right? It's being revealed as each episode goes, and what's being sounded off in social media, yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah. And let me just say this right quick on the topic of colorism. That's the word that has been heavily associated with the show. Okay, so do we believe that the network is allowing colorism to take place? Or is the network exposing these women to show their flaws, and one of them being colorism? While they continue to deny it, it's evident as each episode airs. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how much you keep coming out, Ashley, talking about you're not a colorist and all this and that or whatever, the optics, what we see and what we hear, is saying something totally different. And this ain't the first season that it's happened. So there is a pattern, there is evidence. But again, is the network allowing it? Or is that network exposing them? You know, give them a little rope, what they gonna do eventually, right? I don't wanna go into the analogy of what you can do with a whole lot of rope, but you know what I mean. Perhaps it's both. Maybe the network is allowing it. Well, it's obvious because that's how we see it, but then also exposing them at the same time. The question becomes, the question then becomes, how long will these networks allow this type of thing to happen? Because it's not like we enjoy seeing it. And without any repercussions, exposing them means nothing. Meanwhile, in the other car with Charisse, Gizelle, Ashley, and Robyn, they're talking about what's being discussed on the podcast, the latest one, the Reasonably Doubt one, and how the topic was, you know, would you poop in front of your husband? A lot of people are, I guess, saying that they have not done that, won't do it. Charisse is one of them. She says no, she can't do it, she won't do it. Gizelle and Robyn are like, child, we do whatever. Like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Let it be free, whatever. But Robyn is a little freer than anybody in the car when it comes to, I'll say, nudity in the home, because she said she still walks around naked in the house. She has her husband and 2 boys. The oldest boy is 14 years old. Inappropriate. You know, she'd be in the shower, he'll just walk in and she's, you know, washing her boobs, she's washing her cooch, she's doing it all, and he's just up in there talking to her, and it's like nothing. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing at the differences when it comes to parenting in every home, and how one person may see, you know, nudity, the body, raising boys into young men. They see it differently when it comes to the body, like it's not a big deal. Whereas that's just not something that I felt was okay to do with my own son, and therefore I didn't do it, you know? Yeah, it's just, girl, ain't nothing wrong with telling your son, wait till I come out, or talk to me through the door, Or walk around naked for what? Is it too much just to slip on some lounge clothes and then walk around? I mean, I get it. You're at home and you want to do what you want to do. But like, yeah, again, different strokes. It takes different strokes. It takes different strokes. It takes different strokes to rule the world. Anyway, but I'm watching as I'm recording. So it turns out Ashley said her mom did the same thing. You know, she has a brother and it was like nothing. Definitely different strokes, different folks. So they get to Peter's bar, bar 1. None of the ladies knew they were going to bar 1, well, with the exception of Ashley and Gizelle. And so in her confessional, Wendy said, it's not a coincidence, basically, that we're going to bar 1. Maybe it is, I don't know. But either way, I'll see Peter, I'll speak, but I don't want to talk about anything business, you know, while she's on the trip. The tone that she has about eating at bar 1 has me like, is there a problem? You guys are cool, right? As far as you know, but maybe it's because you know that you're probably going to pull out and therefore you're a little uncomfortable. So the ladies sit down, you know, they're having conversation. Gizelle is like, Mia, have you ever been to this location before? Because, you know, he has bars in different locations. She's like, yep, celebrated New Year's Eve here, you know, because he's family. Robyn says, Mia, do you know what time Candace is arriving? They confirm she's landing at 10 o'clock. Ashley says, yeah, well, the air is going to be a little different because Candace has a chip on her shoulder. Girl, she should, not a chip, a boulder with the 3 of y'all. And I wouldn't necessarily describe it as a chip, because when you describe it as a chip, you speak as though she shouldn't have an issue. No, she has an issue with you. I wouldn't describe it as a chip on her shoulder, because that sounds like, yeah, that's her problem. It's a problem that you put out there. Okay, so she doesn't have a chip, but she definitely has a problem with you and the likes. Robyn says, y'all have a big issue. Yeah, Robyn, you saying that because to Candace's knowledge, she doesn't know what you was saying last episode when you guys were shopping for this trip, how you was kikiing with the girls about her situation. Remember, don't she have enough to worry about? Remember you said that? And you also said that she's egging on what Chris is doing by defending himself on social media against the blatant lies by your friend Gizelle. I'm sure if she knew that you were doing all of that and saying all that, she'd have an issue with you. Maybe not as big as Ashley, but I doubt that she would take too kindly to your words also. Ashley is like, what's our big issue? As though she doesn't know. Like, you act like you know, but then you act oblivious as well. You try to master that every episode. Like, I don't know what, when you know exactly what's going on. Anyway, she's like, what's the big issue? Robyn is like, you guys were just yelling at each other, talking about each other's husband. She said, I just think that Candace doesn't like when a mirror is held up to her face. And therefore, if that makes me vindictive, then so be it. No, girl, you're just vindictive. Gizelle is giggling. Robyn is smiling. Wendy ain't feeling it. Ashley continues and says, did anybody hear me say that a friend of mine stated that Chris was touching her butt? Wendy said, yeah, somebody did repeat that. And I know who repeated it, because we saw last episode, Gizelle got right on that van after talking to Candace and repeated it to Robyn. We, on the other hand, didn't get to hear where she got it from. Gizelle said, I promise you that was said. And Ashley is looking like, by who? And I'm like, wait a minute, Gizelle, are you catching a case of the Mia? Ashley is sitting there looking confused, like she doesn't realize that she said that. Meanwhile, all the other ladies are saying, I heard butt, I heard side and butt, I heard it. So who said it, Ashley, if it wasn't you? But the only people that are saying they heard it from Ashley is Robyn and I don't know how she heard it because she went to the van, but for sure, Mia and Gizelle are the two that are saying they heard it from Ashley. Wendy said it was repeated. She said somebody repeated that. Mia in the confessional, yeah, I heard Chris was giving sexy eyes. Yeah, because that's what you said, and you were proven to be a big ass liar. Okay. But yeah, they're claiming that this is what they heard. Meanwhile, Ashley is like, if I said it, I'd own it. But Ashley knows she didn't say that. And why would production not show us that? They've been showing us everything thus far. Speaking of production showing up, they flashed back to when Ashley was talking to them about it at the burn session, where she said Chris leaned into her friend's space. Okay. So anyway, at the bar 1, Ashley said, no, I said he leaned in, like leaned onto the bar. Here go Gizelle, and grabbed her butt. See, y'all really want that lie to stick. Now, I'm glad Ashley didn't allow that part of a lie to stick out there. I'm glad she didn't allow that part. But every season has shown you are a vindictive liar. Keeping the mess alive, Gizelle says, oh, so I'm so glad that you two, pointing to Charisse and Karen, she said, I'm so glad that you two spoke at the airport. I was so excited. You guys had a smile on your face. Stop it, witch. Girl, it's called plastic smiles. You're familiar with being plastic. Gizelle said, have you guys spoken since then? Sensing what Gizelle is up to, Karen said, Gizelle, like, don't. Charisse looks at Gizelle and says, well, when you have people coming to you saying that you're coming from a bad place. Karen said, who said you're coming from a bad place? Charisse said, Wendy. And here goes production with the flashback. So earlier, Charisse and Wendy were sitting down talking, and Wendy said, yeah, so, I talked to Karen and I asked her, was she okay with me inviting you? And she said, Karen said, yes, I'm in a good place, I have no problem. Wendy said, so then I asked Karen, well, how would you feel if the person wasn't coming from a good place? And Charisse said, well, what, she think I'm not coming from a good place? And Wendy said, I don't know. Now, Wendy, I have a problem with you, okay? I have a problem with this that you did, because you were talking to Karen, having a regular conversation. Why did you feel the need to go and repeat it to Charisse, like y'all good girlfriends or something? Why are you reporting to Charisse how Karen feels? If Karen had something to say to Charisse and wanted to express how she felt, I don't think you need to be her sounding board. Now you're being messy, and then when Charisse called you on it, rather than say exactly what was said in the conversation, you turned up a little bit and said that Charisse was trying to deflect. No, you're deflecting. Go ahead and state exactly what you said, but see, you didn't do that. I have a problem with that. Because from the start, you shouldn't have went to Charisse and said nothing about the conversation that you had with Karen about her. And what I see is even more of a deflection. Wendy starts to get agitated. She's like, you got all this energy from me, but yet you haven't opened your mouth to say nothing to Karen. Are you scared of her? Are you scared of her? And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Calm down, Wendy. If it has nothing to do with you, then say that and let it be. Why are you egging it on, talking about, are you scared of her? Girl, where is all this coming from? I think you're uncomfortable. Again. Twice now. You're at Peter's restaurant and you're uncomfortable because Charisse repeated what you said. Now, Wendy is letting all the cats out the bag because, see, this is what happened, I think. Again, Charisse exposed that conversation that Wendy had with her, telling her what Karen said about her or what have you. And Mia is like, Wendy, like bring it down. Wendy turning up even more says, Mia, what you talking about? You were just in the car talking about, you now understand why Karen don't with Charisse. I said, ooh, Wendy, honey, deflection on 10, girl. Wendy, was all that necessary to expose? Perhaps the way you started turning up on Charisse is like, wait a minute now, girl, we just sat down. We haven't even got our dinner. We just placed an order, and already you turning up, asking who's scared of who, like, where is this going already? Every time you feel a little bit cornered, you automatically go into this political commentator type of communication. She said, that's what you just said 5 minutes ago, Charisse. Karen is looking like, oh my gosh, like what? What are we doing here? What's happening? Mia then, here she go. I didn't say that, for the record. Here go Robyn. Don't let people twist your words. Mia said, what I did say was that you were a little bit theatrical when it comes to the rooms. Here go Robyn. Theatrical? She has 0 bathroom. Well, everybody don't have a bathroom, Robyn, but it's 5 bathrooms in the house. I do understand people wanting their own bathrooms. I would want my own bathroom as well, but I also know how to thug it out. Again, it's 5 bathrooms. Clean up behind yourself. Are you done? Are you finished? You got everything? Okay, now it's my turn. I'm gonna go in and do what I need to do. So Robyn, calm down. Charisse was like, I was very calm about it. Y'all are way too grown to begin an attitude about somebody wanting to have their own room and therefore they're going to book a room at a hotel on their credit card. Like, what's the big deal? Okay, you just meet up with us either the next day, the next morning when we go to dinner, whatever. That's where you're gonna sleep. No big deal. Let her do it. So now she's imitating Charisse, saying, you were like, oh my gosh, oh, I have to have my own room at the Four Seasons. Oh my gosh, it's hot in here. Well, you know what? When you have a group of women who are used to certain accommodations, Mia, it just is what it is. You invited these women, okay? I thought Charisse was your good girlfriend. So if she's such a good girlfriend, the way you acting on this show, then you should know that she probably would want her own bathroom, just like Robyn and Gizelle. And even they want their own bathroom. They don't even want to share theirs. Anyway, Mia said, therefore, I told Karen I'm more on your side. Now you can see why you weren't really interested in sitting down for a lunch with Charisse, because she is theatrical. Karen is like, Charisse, you invited me to lunch, but it hasn't happened, but I'm willing to hear you out. I'm not the one who invited you to lunch. You invited me. I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on? Charisse said the reason I asked you to lunch is because I was trying to understand what is your issue with me. Karen said, girl, people grow apart all the time. I have evolved. I am in a different place, Charisse. She said, and the disappointment that was in the past, I'd rather leave it there. I don't go backwards, I go forward. Charisse was like, I don't know what your issue is. How do you move forward? Karen said, easy. I did it 5 years ago. Girl. In her confessional, Charisse said, Karen has been avoiding me since day one. She said, Karen thinks I know all of her secrets, and she's probably right. Well, let me tell you something, Charisse. If you do know some of her secrets and you're holding that over her head, what makes you think that she wants to fool with you? It's not even avoiding you. I just don't fool with you. For real. That's all it is. Karen said, you haven't been calling my phone for 5 years, Charisse. Charisse said, I have not. Karen said, so why now? And I'm like, yeah, you trying to get close to that grand dame so you can get back on that show. You want to be a castmate, not a friend of the show. No, you want that spot back. A small personal cake arrives. They sit the plate in front of Karen. Rather than giving Charisse a chance to answer the question as to why you calling me now, Karen starts singing happy birthday to herself. Charisse is confused. She's looking around in confusion. Gizelle is like, that's weird. No, it's not weird. She's paying her dust. And rather than weird, I found it hilarious. Charisse said, if you want to use the word deflect, this is deflect. And I said, it doesn't look like deflection to me. It looks like she's just not interested in giving you the time, especially on her birthday. And I actually think she doesn't want to give you the time on this show because, again, she doesn't trust your motive, your approach. In her confessional, Gizelle is like, Karen, just tell us what your issue is with Charisse. Gizelle, she doesn't owe you an explanation. You just mad because what you attempted to start between Charisse and Karen fell flat during this scene. Charisse is pissed, okay? She's sitting there holding that drink, and I don't know if it's the first one or the fifth one, but she looked like she's agitated. And girl, try again next time. You gotta be quicker than that. Next, we see Peter, okay? He's making his way to the table. Wendy says, oh my goodness, hey, I didn't know you were in Miami. I'm like, wait a minute. If you did research on him, you know he has bars in different locations. I guess you didn't happen to know that he had one in Miami, but okay. Making conversation or attempting to make conversation, Wendy says, yeah, I saw you had the Nigerian shrimp on your menu. Is that new? He said, no, it's been there for a while. An awkward pause. He kind of laughs like, okay, you trying to make conversation. I get it. And I feel like something is up. He said, Wendy, when you're done eating, come talk to me. So he leaves to let them continue eating. And Ashley said to Mia, was he joking when he said that stuff about Wendy? And Mia said, well, he is a jokester, but I'm going to ask him. So she leaves to go find Peter. She wants the tea before Wendy has a chance to talk to him. Meanwhile, Charisse has excused herself. I don't know if she went to the bathroom or whatever. I can't remember. But Gizelle said to Karen, so I think that was a good conversation. She said, I only ask that we all get to a better place. I'm like, why are you vibing so hard for Charisse to get to a better place with Karen? Again, because you want Karen to give that approval, you know, that vote, I guess you can say, for Charisse to come back on the show as a full-time cast member. That's my theory anyway. Karen said, let's be clear, Gizelle, okay? I didn't ask for the lunch, all right? So this whole, champion of get to a better place, she's not trying to get to a better place. She's not trying to get to any place with Charisse, okay? She said, and this is 5'9", 59 years old sitting in front of you. And turned right around and started singing happy birthday to me. Happy once again, like I'm paying you and the conversation along with Charisse dust. Looking for Peter, Mia and Charisse run into each other and they approach him. Mia said, Peter, what's the beef with Wendy? Peter said, well, she approached me about wanting to do a restaurant. I made her an offer and everything, and I sent her the paperwork and she been dodging me. I haven't heard from her. He said she didn't respond. Now I'm trying to figure out, why didn't you respond, girl? Because when it comes to business, somebody will snatch up that location quickly if it's a hot spot. Peeping that, okay, this might not be something that I want to be in earshot of, Charisse says, I'm gonna excuse myself, but Peter, I do want to talk to you later because I'm interested in opening a champagne lounge. And Peter said, are you gonna blow me off like Wendy? She was like, I am not Wendy, okay, so that will not be happening. Mia said, I think her check will clear, as though Wendy is walking around bouncing checks. I do not like Mia. So Mia asked Peter, why do you got beef with Wendy? He said, well, I feel slighted because she's coming to my restaurant in my city and I ain't even heard back from her. Like, you blow me off, but then you show up at my restaurant. Like, hey! Mia is like, well, time is money, honey. The early bird gets the worm. That's true. In her confessional, Mia said, Wendy, you have a contract that's under review. If you need more time, say that. Or if you don't have the money, say that. And she says it with such glee in her disposition and her body language. And I'm like, but what are people saying about you now, Mia, and your businesses? Not taking glee in her business issues, but it's just that Mia puts a lot of trust in her tax bracket, and therefore she positions herself as such. She told Peter, the point is, I don't think Wendy really knows what she wants to do. And he said, well, she's a professor. She said, yes, and she sells candles. She said, so don't waste your time. You know, you want to get done? I put my money on Charisse. Again, you just sat and said you understand why Karen don't fool with Charisse because Charisse sounds like she's full of drama. But within a half hour, you're telling Peter that you would put your money on her for him to do business with her. She's a living, breathing, walking contradiction. Back at the table, Ashley says, so Jacqueline, did it take a little while for you and Mia to gel? And Jacqueline said, well, you know, I just try to let her know, like, Mia, you could be a lot when someone first meets you. Jacqueline said, I told her, you know, since we've known each other since we were kids, fine. But if I were to meet you today or as an adult, will we be friends? I'm not sure. I thought that was an interesting piece of information to share about your friend of 15 years with a bunch of ladies you just met. It seems like they give it to each other, like they throw digs. And apparently, surprised by Jacqueline's admission that they wouldn't be friends more than likely if they met as an adult and not 15 years prior, Charisse said, oh, really? Jacqueline said, you know, because we both have strong personalities and, you know, she likes to be the boss. Jacqueline continued and said, I'm probably her only friend that doesn't go with all the she got going on. Mia then makes her way back to the table. And Gizelle says, what was the big conversation about? Mia does the side eye to Wendy and Charisse starts to laugh. Don't expect nobody on that side of the table to have your back. Making Peter's issue her issue, Mia said, yeah, so earlier I was on a FaceTime with Peter and Wendy, he said he had beef with you. Before Wendy could respond, both Robyn and Gizelle, well, what's the beef about? What is it about? Wendy said, I don't have beef with men, so what's the beef? Mia's like, Wendy, don't start it. Don't start it. Wendy was like, I don't, so what is the beef? Mia was like, that is family right there. Okay, so don't start it. Wendy is like, what are you talking about? Like, you're doing too much. What are you doing? She said, if he has beef with me, he can call my husband. Mia said, so apparently you guys are working on some business together and he said he sent you a contract and he ain't heard nothing back. In her confessional, the producer said, what's the status with, you know, this contract? And Wendy said, Peter owes me something. Yes, he sent me over a contract to review, but I also let him know that I would like to do a site visit because I hadn't been to the location. She says she hasn't heard back from him. Ooh, y'all know I'm watching as I'm recording, so the story is unfolding. Mia was like, you would think you would let him know that you were coming to the restaurant? Wendy was like he mocking, man, what are you talking about? Like, I ain't gotta check in with Peter. What? I'm not even here on business. Mia said, he's opening up and giving you an opportunity for you to learn, study, and be a mentee. Here go Gizelle. That makes sense. Wendy said, the only man I let know I'm coming into town is my husband. I don't owe Peter anything. Wendy was like, sweetie, maybe you talk to other men like that, but I don't do that. I don't conduct business like that. I don't let other men know about my comings and goings as though I am obligated to do so. Mia starts throwing out how she's the only woman in her boardroom, the only black woman that sits at the head in her boardroom. Now Wendy is like, and I'm the only black professor, female professor at Johns Hopkins. And now she was like, so how you coming to me like you a boss when you talking to a boss? Mia looks at her friend Jacqueline and says she doesn't even want to hear it, right? Wendy said, because you talking to me about a man that's not my husband. Mia is like, but it's business. Now, in one aspect, I get men and women have business issues. And if there's an issue that arises in the business, why would your husband have to then talk to your business partner? You guys can have a conversation. As far as what Mia is doing and how she's taking it, it ain't none of your business. That's one. Aside from that, Irregardless of issues, Wendy don't have to check in with Peter about nothing as far as I'ma be in Miami. I just want to let you know. What? Wendy is like, what are you talking about? Like, that may be how you and your husband conduct business. That's not how me and my husband move. You telling me that I gotta call some man and let him know I'm coming to town? I'm not even here on business. Not able to handle the conversation. Okay, because the conversation, the level of it starts to get a little bit too high, obviously, for Mia. So she picks up her drink and throws it at Wendy. I say throws it at because luckily it did not land on. Okay, at that point, both Karen and Ashley jump up because, mind you, Karen is sitting between the two of them. Now Mia is standing up on her feet. Talk about, no, get up from the table. Production is standing in front of Mia. And as I'm continuing to watch, I see that some of the drink did in fact get on Wendy. So Wendy was like, oh, so that's what you want to do? You want to go there? You throwing drinks here gonna be a no, because you don't talk about my husband. Wendy was like, who was talking about your husband? Mia keeps hollering, get out, right? Leave the restaurant. Wendy stood up, okay, this time. And she said, and what the you gonna do about it if I don't leave this restaurant? If I don't get out? I said, that's right, Wendy, stand up on her ass. What are you going to do? Meanwhile, Robyn gonna say she's very antagonistic. Girl, what? The one that always likes to get up and get in front of somebody's face. Right. Mind you, Wendy just had a drink thrown on her. And if somebody's trying to sun her, talking about get out, leave the restaurant. Girl, I would stand up too. What the you gonna do if I don't? What you gonna do? How is that antagonistic? No, Robyn, you're getting your double standard mixed up with what's going on with Wendy. That's what that is, because you, Ashley, and Gizelle get the double standards all day. And so far, so does Mia when it comes to production, the network, whatever. Mia is talking to production like she running things, talking about, get her out, I swear, get her out. Robyn pulls out her phone to record the incident, okay? She wants to record everything. And she said, I'm TMZ right now. Here go production, Red DZ, Robyn Dixon Zone. Out of nowhere, we hear Wendy say, so yeah, Mia, you and your husband can go in other women and men. I'm like, wait a minute. Are we talking about Ashley or Mia? Karen is like, I'm confused. It's my birthday. Like, what? Girl, they are not caring that it's your birthday. Karen. Attempting to keep her composure, Mia said to her friend Jacqueline, I am going to whoop her ass right now. Her friend said, sit down, girl. Come on, sit down. Wendy says, since you're such a boss, but you want to throw drinks, what boss throws drinks? Meanwhile, Robyn has the camera close on Wendy because she wants to use it, I guess, as some type of, see, I told you. See, I told you. Well, don't worry about it, Robyn, because production is recording everything, including all your bullshit. Wendy said, Mia, you thought I was going to fight you? Like you thought you was going to get me caught up in something? Here go Robyn. Wendy, you're being antagonistic. If you don't want to fight, then stop it. Wendy said, oh, Robyn, you telling me that I'm being antagonistic, but she threw a drink on me? Robyn responds, if you want to fight, fight. If you don't, then stop it. Wendy turns around and looks at me and says, you threw a drink at me over Peter Thomas because you them. Oh, whoa, the bomb. Woo, bombs over Baghdad, boy. Ew, Lord, these battles just get a little bit rougher every episode. Mia, I guess you picked the right one today. At first, Jacqueline was telling Mia to sit down. Jacqueline now is like, okay, no. Okay, no, this what we not gonna do. Come on, let's go. Mia is like, wait a minute. Production is still standing in front of Mia because, of course, right now she's the aggressor. Wendy continues to repeat it. Yep, and Peter. Yep, and Peter. Yep, and Peter. Giselle's like, oh, wow, now you're making up stuff. Well, you would know. Wendy said, now the tea is real hot. You throwing a drink on me over another man, basically, is what she's saying. Like, what is that about? She said, you throwing a drink at me over somebody that's not even your husband. She said, you're so corny, crater face bitch. Meanwhile, Jacqueline is leading Mia out of the restaurant. But when she said that, Mia immediately turned around and said, what you not gonna do? Wendy walked up and said, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I was like, ooh. Production keeps leading Mia out. Wendy said, let her go. She ain't gonna do nothing. Ashley said, Wendy, did she get the drink on you? Wendy said, she got it in my hair a little bit, but I got wet and wavy, so I'm okay. Robyn was like, I'm recording because we ain't gonna have no he say, she say. Wendy looks at Ashley and says, let's be clear. Your friend threw a drink on me. Ashley is like, well, I mean, she was throwing shots at Wendy. And if somebody throws a drink on me, it's going down. Giselle was like, how did the drink miss you, Karen? Here go Karen, because child, God loves me. Ashley was like, Karen was in the Matrix with that. Then they imitate the Matrix. You know how you be going back. On the other side of the restaurant, Mia is talking to her friend Jacqueline, talking about, I really need to calm down, okay? Because when I say I am livid, I am livid. In her confessional, Mia said, I am pissed and I snapped. Don't come for my husband. Jacqueline, trying to calm down, Mia said, let her have her moment. Well, it was Mia who was looking for a moment, and she got one, didn't she? Mia starts making her way, and it appears that she's not walking out of the restaurant. So her friend Jacqueline is like, Mia, where are you going? Where are you going? What have you, right? Production is walking with Mia. So I'm like, production, is she walking back to the table? Okay. Back at the table, Robyn is like, I'm not saying she was right for throwing a drink, but I'm just saying you kept antagonizing because you kept talking and talking. No, it was not a monologue. Okay. It was definitely a dialogue that Mia started. Wendy said, okay, so if we talking, let me throw a drink on you, Robyn. What would you do? Here go, Robyn. You not doing that. You not doing. Robyn, you really want to be in a position where you checking Wendy all the time. You're not. You're really not. I know you want to look like it, but across the screen, it never looks like it. It's a fail. Mia gets back to the table. She said, you know what? I had to take a couple of minutes to calm down, but I'm going to come back and sit at my table because this is a party that I'm hosting. Karen says, throwing a drink is never cool, right? She's talking to Mia. Mia said, I don't care. She's talking about my husband. Karen said, I heard her. I heard both of y'all. Mia said, Karen, how you gonna defend her? Did she defend her? Karen said, I don't think that she should have been talking about your husband, and I don't think that you should have thrown a drink. Mia, you were trying to humiliate Wendy, and Wendy took it a step further and dug a little deeper and did what she did. So although she came back to the table to calm down, she's getting turned up all over again because Karen is not being one-sided. And Karen said, Mia, you're not listening. You're not listening. Meanwhile, Mia is starting to yell, okay? She's no longer calm, right? She wasn't calm when she got back in the first place. Mia said it's not fair. Gizelle was like, like basically telling Karen, you playing both sides of the fence. Be a friend to somebody. Look, I can be a friend to you and not make your issue my issue. I can be a friend to you and tell you, hey, you know what you did? That was a little bit much. You probably shouldn't have did that. Okay. How is that not being a friend? Gizelle wants friends that kisses her ass. Karen said, two wrongs don't make a right, and I am a friend. I'm a friend to everybody, even your raggedy ass, and still holding you accountable. Mia is now reaching across Karen's face, pointing at Wendy. Now she's back at it again. Okay, so Mia, you didn't have enough. Okay, you didn't want it to end anyway. That's why you came back to the table, because you were embarrassed. So you really came back to settle the score. Wendy said, Mia, you got one more time to keep putting your hand in my face. You got one more time. Now Wendy gets up. Production is standing in front of Wendy, and Wendy said, I let you slide with the motherfucking drink, okay? I let you slide with the drink. Wendy is now trying to approach Mia, and I guess in her exchange with production trying to hold her back, Karen got bumped. Karen is like, oh my gosh, I'm not in it. Why am I getting hit? Here go Gizelle. You got hit. Production is trying to calm Wendy down, walking her away, saying, hey, you know, don't let her get you like that. Don't let her get you like that. Back at the table, Mia said, yeah, kick her ass out. And ghetto ass. I said ghetto. You threw the drink, but you not ghetto. Wendy is ghetto. What makes her ghetto? Mia. We all would like to know. Wendy comes back to the table. Karen is still putting on antics. What is all that about? I think I'm injured. Stop, Karen. Stop. Okay. We don't need you to try to have a moment. Okay. You already had a moment with the Matrix scene. Quit trying to create another moment. Ain't nobody hit you like that. I don't know who said it, but they was like, you guys were fine in the car. What happened? Mia. She got called out on her That's what happened. Did she really get called out? You don't even know the whole story, Mia. Oh, it was Jacqueline who said that. And she said, what happened? And Mia said, anytime you call her out about something that she's insecure about, she gets upset. Wendy want all the smoke, okay? She is no longer calling Mia Mia. Mia's name is Craterface for the rest of the night. So she said, Craterface said, here go Mia. Wendy, you got one more time. Wendy said, what type of woman throws a drink on another woman for not calling a man? Mia said, no, I threw the drink on you because what you were saying out your mouth was bullshit. Wendy said, I didn't really say nothing about your husband before you threw the drink. Mia said, and a lot of things that came out your mouth had absolutely, and doing what Wendy has done in the past, the timing always seems perfect. She put her hand up and said, shut up, I have nothing else to say to you. Stop Mia dead in her tracks. You are the weakest link. Good night. Just like every other time when Wendy does that, Mia is stuck. She don't know what to say. So she was like, you gonna throw another drink? That's what Wendy said. Here go Gizelle. Well, I mean, oh, so you gonna condone that, Gizelle? You're gonna condone Mia throwing another drink on Wendy. You're going to condone Mia physically, I'm going to use the word that you would probably use, assault with the drink, and there's ice in the glass, and it could cut her face. Those ice cubes are hard, they're thin, anything could have happened. She could have taken her eye out, she could have busted her lip. I'm gonna say all the things that you would have said had it been the other way around, Gizelle. So you're condoning Mia doing. You're gonna say, well, what you trying to egg her on? You trying to give her a suggestion? This is what they mean by colorism, because it's not only what you do, but it's what you're allowed to get away with, okay? They show y'all a lot of mercy and a lot of grace over and over, time and time again. And people are tired of it. You don't make the show. You don't even have a storyline, okay? So you don't bring nothing to the show. Anyway, after asking Mia, are you gonna throw another drink? Instead of throwing a drink, and Wendy says, I have nothing else to say. We're done. Although Wendy says she's done, she's not done. Because she's like, yeah, you talking about you a CEO, you a boss, you all this. Now she's coming for her character as a boss, a businesswoman. She said, what kind of raggedy bit does that? Here go Robyn. Okay, shut up, Robyn. Robyn says she is so antagonistic. Now at this point, Wendy is antagonizing her. But you started with her. You threw a drink on her. You wanted it. You thought you were going to sun her. You thought you were going to humiliate her. You thought you were going to somehow put her in her place, okay? But you took it there, and she keeps giving it back to you. Wendy is not letting it go. Mia stands up. Wendy said, are you going to do it again? You going to throw another drink? Here go Gizelle. She might. Again, it's the condoning for me. I want to know what the network is going to have to say about this, especially when it comes to the reunion. Continuing on, Wendy is like, look, like you embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed your whole business. I bet you Mia on the inside feels so small because she has no comeback. And you can tell Mia is not a woman of words. She gets physical. That's probably what she did in her past because she's so quick to do it today as this big businesswoman who sits at the head of her table in her boardroom. Not able to control herself, Mia then throws her purse at Wendy. So she went from throwing a drink to throwing a purse. Okay, is she gonna get put off the show like Monique? Are you guys gonna vote her off the show? Absolutely not. Okay, but according to you guys, you should be able to say what you want to say and nothing physical should take place because you should be able to handle the words, okay? Just as long as nothing physical happens. Well, Mia has done it twice in the same scene. I want to know how this is going to play out because if it's anything like the past, nothing is going to happen. Nothing. And they're going to continue to make Wendy out to be the villain. But we got eyes, okay? And the only villains in this scene are the usuals. The usual suspects, Gizelle, Robyn, and Mia. Surprisingly, at this time, Ashley, she steered clear, okay? But Mia has definitely been added to the bunch. Oh well, you got what you asked for and maybe a little bit more. See, Wendy beat Mia at her own game, okay? Because Mia called herself trying to humiliate Wendy as a businesswoman, right? As a professional. And Mia, it's you who can't control herself. You can't take the lingo. The communication is a little bit too intense and you can't take it. So she beat you at your own game. She saw the cracks in your foundation and she stood on them. And you ended up looking like a fool. Here go Wendy mocking her, standing up. Look at the CEO! Look at the CEO! She said, you got to control yourself. Robyn says, you antagonize to the utmost. Wendy said, I use my words. Okay. The fact that she throws drinks and throws purses, that's on her. She's violent. I said, great way to spin it. Great way to spin the narrative because they sure like to make it seem as though you and Candace and Monique are the violent ones. You guys are aggressive. And as of tonight, Wendy, you are ghetto. Great way to spin the narrative. Come on, Professor. So overwhelmed, Mia calls her husband, okay? She's sniffling, all right? And she's like, can you book a flight? Because I'm done. Yeah, you're cooked. Back at the table, Wendy is like, yeah, you call yourself a CEO, such a businesswoman, a woman of empowerment, but you up here throwing drinks and you throwing your purses because you can't handle words. She said, control yourself. Robyn can't take it. You're so used to it being the other way around, right? On the Chocolate Sisters, you got to stand up in your seat. What you standing up for, Robyn? This ain't got nothing to do with you. Once again, making a grandstand just like she did when Wendy told her to stand on it. I'm standing. Now, here go Robyn in the restaurant looking like a fool. Everybody, Wendy is the winner. and you can't take it. Because I guarantee you wouldn't have been doing none of that had Mia would have still been in that room and she would have humiliated Wendy the way she attempted to. But it didn't work in her favor, your favor, nor Gizelle's favor. You lost. You lost. Wendy accepts her recognition and says thank you. Meanwhile, Mia is telling her husband she's going ham. Here go Robyn to the rescue. Robyn is like, wait a minute, you talk about the next flight out. You are not leaving. Mia is like, girl, do you see my nails? Well, I guess your nails broke in the altercation with yourself because you never did get to Wendy. So you can't put that on Wendy, honey. Wendy ain't touched you or your nails. Here go Gizelle. You're leaving? Robyn, I told her she's not leaving. They're all like, if you're leaving, you know, they're an alliance. If you're leaving, we're all leaving because this is your trip. Happy birthday, Karen. Here they are spinning it. She was baiting you, Mia, and you did exactly what she wanted you to do. That's what you get. You gonna learn to quit messing with Wendy, Mia. It never works out for you. But to that, Mia said, well, she won. She won. In her confessional, she said, I fought my whole life. And anytime someone gets me to a point where I have to defend myself, it's like, check, please. Well, why did you have to physically defend yourself, Mia? For what? You were the aggressor. Hello? Yeah, again, I want to see how Andy is going to I want to see if Andy is going to let you get away with this when it comes to the reunion. I want to see how it's going to play out. Will you be on next season or will you be dismissed for your behavior as a violent person? So Mia gets in the car. She calls Gordon back. She's FaceTiming. She's like, look at my nails. She's showing him her broken nails. He's like, what happened? Starting halfway into the conversation, Mia says, well, Wendy proceeded to say that you sleep with other women. Is that how the conversation started, Mia? Is that how it started? Or did it start with you strategizing, going to talk to Peter to find out what you can find out so that you can then bring it back to the table and embarrass Wendy in front of all the women? That's where it started. Start there. At the table, Karen is like trying to figure out when exactly did Wendy start talking about or making mention of Mia's husband. She said, was it before or after? Wendy said it was after she threw the drink. Production played it back to where Wendy said, me and my husband don't play like that. I don't know why Wendy started referring to Gordon, but it was at the time where Mia basically was telling Wendy that you need to check in with Peter. And Wendy was like, I don't check in with nobody but my husband. That may be how you and your husband do it, but that's not how me and my husband do it. That's when Gordon was brought into the picture. Her saying that is still not warranted for Mia to have thrown a drink on her. However, once the drink was thrown, then it's gloves off, okay? That's when Wendy was talking about her and Gordon, Mia and Gordon, having extramaritals with, them and those. Karen said, Wendy, is there any truth to what you said? Wendy said, look, I said it out of anger, but there is a rumor going around. Ashley was like, I like Mia, but I don't like that. I don't like the physicalities. Because you don't want nobody going upside your head. Back in the truck, Mia is crying. She's like, I just can't let anybody talk about my family. I just can't. Gordon is like, what did everybody else say? She said, everybody agreed with me except for Karen. Back at the table with Wendy, Karen, Ashley, Gizelle, and Charisse, Ashley said, I love Mia. That's my girl. But that was completely unnecessary when she threw that drink at Wendy. Ashley said, how is Mia doing? Gizelle said, well, she's not doing good, rightfully so. And she's going to take this time to figure out her next couple of days. Exiting stage left immediately, and I was with Wendy. Wendy got up. Ashley said, Wendy, where you going? She said, oh, I'm going to go because I'm not going to sit here with Mia empathizers. That's right, girl. You don't have a seat at that table. Exit. And she stated the biggest fact of the night and said, I'm not going to sit here with somebody who is okay with violence. But when Monique did it, she, pointing to Gizelle, was against it. Bombs over Baghdad. She said, I'm not here for hypocrites. Ashley is looking like, oh my goodness. I mean, oof, whoa. Yeah, all y'all, all y'all, all of ya. Ashley, remember you actually testified, gave a written statement rather on Monique's behalf because you were trying to stick it to Candace once again. The vindictive. Yeah. So what you got to say now? Oh, you're not with that. Gizelle, what you got to say? Making her exit, she said, I'm in the house and I will beat the out of her. Okay. And the episode ends. It was good. It was good. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining me. This was a long one. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell button. And until next time, take care. Peace.